Today we're working on this Exocet. My dad bought it about 1.5 years ago as a Christmas present, and unfortunately it's been sitting ever since. It was a half-finished project that we haven't been able to finish. Now I'm done traveling for a little bit, it's time to get it running.
Something in my back, I didn't even do anything.
Oh no!
Maybe not pull it. Maybe you should pull it over.
Yep, I guess
Just pull the front end over, so.
rotate it?
I just want a little more room. Yeah, that's fine.
So basically we have to cut off these little brackets so the hood will fit over. For some reason the guy before bought this giant radiator that barely fits and the mounts aren't in the right spot. So we're changing it.
I'm not sure how far it's supposed to come back. About to here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want it as far back as it goes?
So if you don't know what an Exocet is, do yourself a favor and Google it real quick. Matt Farah basically called it, like, I think one of the top 3 cars he's ever driven. That was a turbo version, ours is non-turbo. But essentially you strip down a Miata to nothing and then bolt the drivetrain to a tube. So it's like 1,000 pounds lighter than the already super light Miata. It's a track weapon, it's gonna be insane.
Front end back on, just set it on there.
Okay. So if you buy it from the factory, it's like a year-long waiting list. We found one that a guy was trying to build, gave up, couldn't do it. Unfortunately, it's harder almost to build somebody's half-built project than to build it from scratch because there's all these crazy wiring issues. They're like weird stuff that you don't know what he was thinking. Now we have to go back and redo it to try and make it right.
So it looks like we can have the radiator 4.5 inches above that top bracket.
Okay.
So yeah, now you can take it back off. What we want to do is try to figure out new brackets that I made here. It makes sense to get the biggest radiator we can, and we got to figure out how to make it work. Is what it boils down to.
Right. These are obviously just placeholders for the rubber gaskets that we'll put on. Let's see if you don't have the space. The motor's too tall. Alright, so we're building new brackets to go from here up. These aren't tall enough, so we need to raise it up a few inches.
But we're not sure exactly how many. Well, we are sure, and then we became unsure. 1 inch off. Easy mistake. That's why you measure twice, cut once.
So what's the difference between a metal blade and a plastic blade?
The teeth per inch. This is probably about 10 teeth per inch, so it's really jagged. So it's got a lot of room for the chips to build up. Where steel looks more like a hacksaw blade, fine tooth. So lots of teeth per inch, like 20.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So with few teeth like this, it'll just vibrate really bad and mess the teeth all up.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems every time you cut something, you got to change the blade because you're back and forth, different materials all the time. It doesn't take much to do it. It's just like, oh man, I got to change the blade again.
Yeah.
Didn't I do this yesterday? All right, should stay on. Gotta put the safety guards back on. Don't want OSHA to yell at us. So I just put some cutting wax on it. It's better for steel to have something.
Makes sense.
Cutting fluid. Slows the speed down. So 30 seconds to cut the material, 5 minutes to change the blade. That's why you got gloves on.
note the vacuum cleaner custom leads right back into there. So is it 275 from center?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We've got all these big fancy mills to make these brackets on, but it's so simple. We're just going to use the drill press.
Right, by the time you turn it on and get it warmed up,
Yeah,
to drill a hole.
And when we get it finished, we can measure, I guess, and see how close we are. 15 to 20 thousandths longer, but if they're both really close to the same, we're not going to tell anybody. $200,000 worth of milling machines, and we're using a $100 Sears drill press. No, Ryobi. That's even worse. So we're just center drilling it so the drill bit doesn't walk when we go to drill it.
So that's a little more advanced of a technique than just straight drilling it.
Yeah, like with a hand drill and a vise. This is more technical than that.
Yeah, midway.
Yep.
Okay, so one is a through hole and the other is going to be tapped? Is that
Yes,
right?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the through hole one for the 10 millimeter. This just helps lubricate the drill so you don't burn the drill up. You don't have to do it that way. You can just drill it and burn your drill up.
Yeah, it's a $100 Ryobi. We technically could have made whole new brackets.
Yeah, and we still could when we get everything finalized. So I'm tapping the holes by hand, whereas if we would have used the mill, we could have wrote a program to drill the holes and be exact and tapped. But then you got to write the program, warm the machine up, pick up your edges, set all your tools. It's still quicker just for 4 little holes, do it on the drill press.
Right, maybe for the real ones. After we get it running, we can worry about getting it pretty.
Well, it runs.
Technically, yes.
Well, I mean, before we took the radiator out, it runs, but it's got a lot to be done yet to make it track worthy. But I don't know I would have bought it if I wasn't able to just drive it down the street a little bit.
But we certainly didn't anticipate a year and a half after buying it that it still wouldn't be drivable or trackable. But here we are. That's what the quarantine's for. We'll get it going.
So we'll want to space this out when we do get it right, because you see it's sitting there at a funny angle. You don't really want that, but we're still trying to get the height. Go ahead and measure, see if it's like, what did we say, 4.5 it was supposed to be? Nope. We're 4 3/4.
How did that happen?
We got room for the radiator cap. Can't quite get my finger start, so there's probably like a 1/4 inch clearance between the hood and the intake manifold, the highest spot there. So to get our approximate height for making our brackets.
Is this as far as it's going to go here?
I think so. They said it didn't come to here.
So this is a 99 Miata motor?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the NB.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaned up a little bit of it. He powder coated that and that.
1.5 inches is going to be the right height for the front end to be above the frame.
Yep. We got these. We just need to figure out
bracket. We're gonna make a bracket a lot like the one that's holding the lights on.
Okay.
And that'll mount on that, and then we'll get 4 hood pins.
So those brackets we will have to use the real machines.
Yep, we will do. We'll really put effort into that.
It looks good though. This is the first time the hoods actually fit on with the radiator like bolted in. Like everything needs a lot still, but good progress.
Not sure what happened to the other seat. Okay, my brackets.
All right, next task, figuring out the passenger seat.
In case we find somebody that's got enough guts to ride with Dylan.
No.
I'm a great driver. I've never gone off the track.
I'm sure you're a great driver. That's
So-
it's just scary as hell. Being a passenger, when I took my professional driving course, the instructor said he scared the shit out of him. I could imagine what it would be like in the passenger side with no brake, no steering wheel, going 90 into a turn. Ah, please slow down. Please.
That is true. I like riding with JT. I trust JT fully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about some other people. Might be scary.
Right. So that one's on adjusters. I don't know why the passenger would need to have an adjustment.
No,
But
Because we gotta figure out make something now to.
yeah, we're gonna have to have somebody weld something in here. And then we can bolt these to it.